Hey everybody, Onorato and Miller, Chris and Ash, separate locations, rare, but that's what happens when you move the show up a couple of days for our live stream on a Tuesday. If you've got us on TV, you've caught us over the weekend on a Saturday night or Sunday morning. Glad you found us there. A lot to do in the NFL, as we always say, it is the league that never sleeps, especially when it comes to producing news. The franchise tag window has opened and closed. We'll talk about who was tagged, who was not. There's a mock draft out, Ash, that has the Giants moving all the way up to number 1 to get its latest attempt at a franchise quarterback. We'll talk about that. One coach's review of Shedeur Sanders' attitude coming out of the combine, which I think is very interesting. And the Aaron Rodgers New York Jets experiment and era is officially over. Now that we know Gangrene wants to move on not only from the quarterback, but also 2 of his former Packers teammates, wide receivers.
I thought you were going to roll the open.
You want me to roll the open?
Roll the open.
I'll roll the open.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Alpenhaus, Bev's, Marcella's, Novice, and Performance Industrial. This is a Novice hoodie.
It's cool.
That supports
Really cool.
Folds of Honor, which is an organization that Performance Industrial's owner, Bill Miller, and one of his top men, Sean Wilcoxon, are such a big part of here in New York. They did outhouse races. Wish I had some video of that.
Yeah.
Outhouse races on Saturday, this past Saturday on Lake Desolation. It was cold. It was windy. It was snowy. People were pushing portable toilets. But it was
fun.
It was an experience. It was a lot of fun. Raised a lot of money for Folds of Honor New York and another organization called Expedition Yeti, which raises money for childhood cancer. So shout out to the Performance Industrial Tinney's Tavern crew. For all the good that they continue to do. All right, let's talk about
you out to it.
I know. Let's talk about what happened here, or what didn't happen. Days ago, the Bengals used that franchise tag on T. Higgins. So this was not a franchise tag deadline decision by any means by Cincinnati. But the Vikings waited, obviously, because the time came and went. The Vikings waited here on Sam Darnold, and so 2 schools of thought on this. They don't tag Sam Darnold. And so maybe the organization feels like it's in a good place with working out a long-term deal, or just saying,
going all in on J.J. McCarthy.
We're good with J.J. Correct. The reason I don't know that they're working on a long-term deal here is because the Vikings didn't use their franchise tag on anybody else.
Right.
So if they were going to work out a deal with Darnold, it would stand to make sense that they would tag him. Now I know I've got him, and I have a negotiating window that lasts a little while here to work out a long-term deal. They didn't do that. So either they really trust Sam Darnold and his representation and vice versa, or to your point, Minnesota has said, we drafted J.J. McCarthy high in the first round last year. Yes, he got injured in the preseason, but we like where we are with McCarthy and maybe signing Daniel Jones to come back as kind of that backup or transition QB, Ash.
Yeah, listen, I think they're in a good spot no matter what they do. Darnold feels like he's a little bit safer. You at least have a very good season of on-field productivity. Yeah. You don't have that with J.J. McCarthy, so there's certainly risk. And as for Daniel Jones, he's a really good backup, but you don't want him as your starting quarterback.
Yeah, not for – now they play 17 games. Not for 17 games, but maybe for the first 3 weeks or month of the season until McCarthy is back 100%. Into game shape and game mode, right? I mean, he's not a terrible option, certainly. Speaking of former Giants, Saquon Barkley has signed the richest contract for a running back in NFL history. 2-year extension with the Eagles worth about $41 million. First running back ever to go over $20 million for a single season. It's a reward for one of the greatest running back seasons of all time.
Yep.
He broke the record for total rushing yards, including regular and postseason. And Philadelphia is probably going to lose a lot in free agency because that's generally what happens to a lot of Super Bowl teams. But they will keep Barkley beyond that 3-year contract that he originally signed here. Let me go back to Ash. We'll do that in a second here, but I want to stay on the franchise tag here as we get that breaking news out of the way. T. Higgins here wants a deal. Jamar Chase wants a deal. The other side of the ball, which really struggled last year, Trey Hutchinson, but maybe Trey Hendrickson, maybe the best pass rusher in all football that just doesn't get talked about enough, wants a new deal. How do the Bengals keep the band together?
It feels like we've been talking about this for more than a full year at this point. Like, are they going to – I think the assumption was always that they were going to tag T again, right? He was on a tag last year.
And he held out.
Yeah. So tag him again. But it feels like things feel like they're on the verge of falling apart in Cincinnati because it's like too many people want too many things and no one's getting anything. So at what point does someone get upset? Like, It feels like nowadays the franchise tag is like, okay, you're here for a year and then that person is gone, because it's almost an insult to players these days. Like, we're tagging you because we can't come to an agreement on what the two sides want. We don't want to give you as much as you want. So you're going to get 1 year of it instead of a long-term deal. So my guess is this is T's last year or he holds out again. But you're going to obviously not Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase is before.
Yeah, Chase will get an extension here, and maybe he gets paid more than Justin Jefferson. And maybe the move here is to still somehow trade T. Higgins. Mm-hmm. If Higgins were to play under the franchise tag, which I would say he should do, he's going to make more than $26 million.
Yeah, it's never bad. Like, I always think the money's never bad for a 1-year deal. Yeah. It's just not what you want. It's not long-term. It's a 1-year deal.
Carol's here. She found us on a Tuesday afternoon. Thanks, we appreciate Carol. That. Okay. More of the breaking news here. The Jets are ready to move on from both wide receivers, Davante Adams and Allen Lazard. Remember, before they traded for Rodgers, they signed Randall Cobb and Allen Lazard. Then they traded for Rodgers, and he pops his Achilles, and last year isn't going all that well, and the Jets decided we're going all in, and we're going to trade for Davante Adams. Mm-hmm. Well, Cobb has retired. They just now, on Tuesday here this week, cut Davante Adams, and Allen Lazard is free to find a trade partner. Everything that this organization tried to do in an 18-month period, yeah.
It's all blown up.
It was a big swing, and what happens when you swing big? Sometimes you miss big.
Or you hit a home run.
And this was a big miss. So I don't know. Thoughts here, Ash? What is forget Lazard for the moment. Yeah, Adam, who can really still be a productive receiver. Maybe he's not a true number 1 anymore in the league.
No, but to bring that guy in to be a number 2 or a number 3 even, and he's probably better than a guy. So, like, I always think of the guys like DeAndre Hopkins or Sammy Watkins, like guys who are past their prime, but still very valuable. And their name does enough. When they walk on the field, it's like, well, you can't leave that guy open because he's not gonna miss the ball, but he's also still gonna make catches over some DBs. So certainly he is a very good piece to be even a number 3. Like, if he were to go somewhere, he could be a number 3 receiver and a pretty good one.
If the Commanders signed him, he's better than anything else they have on the roster after Terry McLaurin. I know they have Deebo Samuel now, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But Davante Adams is a better wide receiver than Deebo Samuel, even at this point in his career, in my opinion. And so Washington has a bunch of free agent guys after McLaurin. Not a terrible option here. Now, the Chargers being linked to him makes sense. Herbert needs a weapon. Maybe even the Rams. If
I was going to say the Rams would be like that dude on the Rams. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you let Cooper Kupp go. Matthew Stafford stays in L.A., and so that eliminates the possibility.
They're two very different receivers. That would be fun.
Stafford staying in L.A. eliminates the possibility of the Giants maybe going after that veteran quarterback.
That was last week for us. We were talking about where does Stafford go, and very quickly after the show, I think, might have been that day or the next day, Stafford had decided he was staying in L.A.
But there is talk that maybe Aaron Rodgers to the Giants makes sense here. Look, you've got a GM in Joe Shane and a head coach in Brian Dable. They both feel the pressure to win. If they could be fired by midseason if things don't go well. If they won, don't draft a quarterback, right, to say, hey, this is our future. We need time to build around this player. We need time to work with this player. That's a selling point always to ownership. This is the future. We made the decision to draft him. We need more time with him. Or you bring in a veteran like a Rodgers, maybe a Darnold, and you hope for instant success to save your job. Now, let me just try to sell you on Rodgers here for a moment, okay? His final 10 games with the Jets, 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 64% passing, a QBR in the 90s. It was really good. Good. And remember, if we think about his age and the injury, maybe what we saw in the last 10 games was Aaron Rodgers finally healthy and feeling back in game rhythm and timing and shape and all that stuff. Like maybe at 41, he's actually going to play okay next year because he's a year plus removed from that Achilles.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm not saying that the Jets had a better offense. Like certainly Malik Neighbors is a number one receiver on most teams. But are the Giants a good situation to be walking into? Are they talented enough to drop anyone into that? That's not like some young gunslinging guy. Like there's just too much more that needs to be done with that team for them to be instantly good. I don't think Aaron Rodgers does it. I think he can still be a good quarterback, but I don't think he would be I don't necessarily think he would be the problem there.
Yes, understood and agreed. And I don't know that they have the offensive line to support Rodgers.
They haven't had the offensive line in 15 years.
Yeah. So, like he might love the idea of throwing to Malik Neighbors, but is there going to be time to get that done?
Right.
Adam asked here, who do you think Dallas is going to tag now that Osa signed for $80 million 4-year deal? Well, here's the deal, Adam. The tag window is closed. So from what we have seen now, Dallas has not tagged anybody, chosen not to tag anyone at all here. It's really just Higgins gets the tag. And we saw the Chiefs tag Trey Smith, one of their O linemen, earlier as well. But those are really the names of note here in terms of guys who are getting tagged. Osi Odigizua.
I'm pretty sure
it's a fun one. It's a fun one to say when you can get it right. Rodgers can be Dak's backup. If we've learned anything in Dallas is that Dak, I don't want to say often, but occasionally needs a decent backup. All right. Let me take a quick break here. We'll come back. More NFL to do here because there's a mock draft out just today that has the Giants making a big move to try to get their franchise quarterback. I want to get Ash's take on that. We're back in a minute on Onorato and Miller.
Great memories start with Alpenhaus. Amsterdam, Clifton Park, and High Adventure in Latham.
I'm Jeff Ukelek, I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
Ash, we've got New York Phoenix owner Sam Clifford on the show this week as well. A new professional basketball team in the capital region, making its home in Schenectady in the Basketball League, and off to a really nice start after a home back-to-back weekend. The Phoenix will take on the Patroons Thursday night.
That's exciting.
March 13th in Schenectady.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. So we'll talk with Sam here coming up in a little bit. I know I saw him
there.
saw him pop in here waiting for his camera to come on here as well. Well, while we do that, before we bring Sam on, let's get to this here, Ash. Jordan Reed of ESPN, he's their NFL draft insider in a lot of ways, released his latest mock draft, and he has your Giants moving all the way up to number 1, only from 3. Okay, so it's not like they're mortgaging the future here. It would be a swap with the Titans to go up 2 spots,
and
it would also include their second-round pick, all to get Miami quarterback Cam Ward, should the Giants do this.
So he's saying that all they would have to give up to do that is a number 2 and a swap. That's what he's saying. That's not – okay.
Right.
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. I did think, like, if you're going to mortgage the house on moving up 2 spots to get a quarterback that God only knows what he's going to do in the NFL, I'm out. I don't want to do it. I say there are 3 to 5 players in the draft, probably 3, who people are talking about. They have the 3rd pick. You take whoever is left, whether it's a quarterback or Travis Hunter. Whoever's left, you take that person.
Yeah.
Last week we were talking about Travis Hunter going first. Now we're saying they want to move up to take Cam Ward first. Well, what if Cam Ward is there when you're picking 3rd? He probably won't be. But what if somebody wants Shador and somebody wants Travis Hunter ahead of him?
Yeah, he won't be there at 3, but you're right. Are the Giants have they evaluated the talent of Cam Ward and Shador Sanders to the point where they say, we like them, we don't love them. And so if they're there, we're willing to date them, but we're not going to chase them around hoping that they say yes to dinner on a Saturday night, right? Like we will be happy to take kind of whoever ends up in our lap at number 3.
I mean, I would be happy. Yes. I don't know that the Giants are happy.
Yeah. And again, this all goes back to what we said in the first segment with Shane and Dable. What level of desperate are they to keep their jobs, right? To prove to ownership that they need more time with the organization. And the number one way to do that is to really go all in on a rookie quarterback, because you're probably not going to get fired in your first 6 months. Well, Matt Eberflus knows differently. So it is possible.
He really messed it up.
Yeah, it is possible. All right, we'll continue this conversation later on. And I think the most interesting prospect now has all of a sudden become Shador Sanders. There are mock drafts that have him going number 2, mock drafts that have him going in the 20s. So this is pretty wild where Sanders may end up. And you know how much I like Shador Sanders, but then again, I don't evaluate quarterbacks for a living, so it really doesn't matter what I say. All right, we have a new basketball team in the Capital Region, the New York Phoenix. Sam Clifford is co-owner with his wife, Rebecca. That's got to make for some interesting dinner conversations.
I was going to say dinner conversation.
Who are we signing? Who's in the starting 5? What do we think about concessions and tickets? And But the building is very cool.
It's so cool.
And when I walk into it the first time, it will be new to me, but I'm looking forward to that opportunity. Ash, you know how jealous I get of people who have really good hair. I might be more jealous of the people who make bald look good.
Oh.
And Sam does
makes
that.
Bald look good. That's
right.
True.
Sam Clifford is on the show here this week with us on Onorato and Miller. Sam, how are you, man?
Hey guys, how we doing?
We are good. Congratulations on the team. Congratulations on the great start. Cannot wait for Patroon's Phoenix. It's a perfect built-in Capital Region rivalry, man. Look, I'm sure you're tired of telling this story, but for our specific audience, give us a little bit of the genesis of this franchise, because you're not new to the league at all, having been involved in Patroons. Yeah. Why make the move to the Phoenix and branch out into the Schenectady market?
Yeah, so so we owned the market and operated the Albany Patroons for the past 2 seasons. I've been in this area for quite some time. And I recognize the importance of local rivalries, whether it's Siena and Albany basketball. I'm an RPI grad, and it's ironic that I'm going into Union's backyard. But anyway, there's the RPI Union rivalry. There's the Siena Albany rivalry. So it's I think it's very healthy for Capital Region sports to have that. We were presented an opportunity by the league to take an expansion franchise. And, we decided that, just looking at the renaissance of downtown Schenectady, working with the city and working with the county, and just that tight-knit community that's just bursting at the seams with such a deep basketball history, that city is primed for basketball. And is absolutely the perfect spot to re-energize the city. And that's precisely why we named the team the Phoenix. It is a direct ode to the city of Schenectady, of its rebirth of the city, but also the rebirth of pro basketball.
And this is literally a ground up project. I mean, you guys have been so great on social media, being able to watch the transformation of the arena at the Armory. Like, can you take us behind the scenes for a little bit of that process? Because you guys have morphed it into something that it did not look anything like before.
Yeah, I give a tremendous amount of credit to the owners of Army Studios New York, Ray and Jeff Legier. They have been a monster force behind this transition, and they are very serious about seeing this venue, thrive into a whole new realm of pro sports. I mean, this is the same facility that had the Van Gogh exhibit, the Monet exhibit, and they pulled in hundreds of thousands of people for the dinosaur. So they thought that it was time, and the city was time. Is that it's time for pro sports, and people thought we were absolutely nuts that we were going to transform this Armory that was not basketball ready in only 3 months' time. And it probably took a team of 50 people to pull this off. And it just a transformation of bringing in our NBA court, which has a tremendous amount of history behind it. Bringing in the seats, bringing in the concert sound, working with Bill Reinhardt with Aces, bringing in, like, that place sounds like SPAC right now. It is incredible. Building out concessions, building out their lounge in the officers club, the parking, even that the county was involved on, like, putting gravel down and putting out lights and just really, really creating a safe environment for our fans. And the ability, and the fact is that we pulled this off in 3 months. I mean, people thought there was no way that we would ever do it, but we did. And up until Friday night during our home opener, like, we were setting up courtside seats at 3 p.m. and we tipped off at 7. It was like we were literally sprinting to the finish line. But we did it, and we had an amazing turnout Friday night. Absolutely incredible, just to show us that city is just dying for basketball. Boy, and they came out and that place was pumping.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be on fire March 13th. There's no doubt about that. You said you understand the importance of local rivalries.
Yes.
So you just kind of figured, I'm going to go across town. Oh, and I'm going to take one of the most recognizable players with the Patroons and making my head coach. I mean, this just listen, as an independent, unbiased observer, I love it because you've just kind of created, as you said, Sam, on purpose or not, you've created, this rivalry before you've even played, which just is going to make it so much fun on Thursday, March 13th.
Yeah, we have a lot of familiar faces, especially as our head coach. Trev White, who was the point guard for the Patroons for the past 3 seasons, even so actually Will Brown brought him in when Will Brown went on his championship run. So, he's been a phenomenal player. He's well respected. He's an MVP caliber. He's NBA G League. He was the perfect choice for us as a young coach that can relate to the young players. Mm-hmm. And he has a tremendous following. So, I'm not going to take any credit for the roster that we have. That is all Trev, because they wanted to come play for him. But they also wanted to play for our organization as well, because, we've sort of proven that we can run a pretty well-oiled machine. So they're like, hey, let's do this. And then you sign one player and then another player and then another player. And then all of a sudden you have 5 Albany Patroons sitting on our roster. And the players kind of go where they want to play. And they all decided to say, hey, let's, in a big one, is Shadell Millinghouse. He was a loyal Albany Patroon for such a long time. But this is his hometown.
I was going to say he's a Schenectady guy.
This is his dream. He maybe have 2 or 3 years left in his career. And right now this has always been his dream to come back to his hometown and play pro basketball. So, and then, we have the captain, Arsenio Arrington. We have some Mustafa Traore, old Patroon, an old throwback with AJ Mosby, another Will Brown point guard. And we just announced today that we re-signed Josh Williams, who was our power center, and we have one more incredible announcement coming out that's going to round out the 12.
And you're going to tell us right now, right?
That has no. That's one. So we have a very, I would say, a very dangerous backcourt.
Yeah.
So
Sam, you're the co-owner with your wife. So
and Paulie Walnuts. I don't know if you know Paulie Walnuts.
Yes.
He's a crazy dude. Yes.
We know Paulie Walnuts.
Yes.
Well, let's go to your wife first.
Okay.
Where does she? What kinds of things has she had her hands on, and will scream, a woman at the helm? Where does she get the credit?
She gets the credit by managing men. We are not.
You need a woman to do that.
We are not the most disciplined species on the planet. We tend to get scattered. We work very well together because we're on both ends of the spectrum. I'm an RPI guy. I'm a very analytical, strategic chess player that can see things, but she has tremendous street smarts. And when you put those two together, she's very good from pushing me from behind on watch out for that person. I don't trust that person. Watch out for that deal. That doesn't really make sense. That's not going to work. And I'm like, trust me, it is. And I'm always wrong. So, So we have this ongoing joke of like, all right, I'll say it. Becca's right. Since the text, so all of us see she is a very, very strong-willed woman, and she does not roll over for anything. She's like our own Capital Region Jeannie Buss. She's powerful. And, I love that. And the only female sports owner in the 518. So
I saw that post Was it
She's
today?
plowing it forward,
The other day for Women's History Month. I saw that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. She is not a wallflower. Let me tell you that.
Sam, this is last from me, and then Ash will get last word. You mentioned Paulie Walnuts, other than being completely out of his mind, and bringing that excitement and element to any game day experience.
Yeah.
You know this, and there's an unfortunateness to it that, you can't just say, hey, we've got a team, there's a game, come watch, right? Every sporting event now is exactly that. It is an event. It's entertainment. And so when fans come to your new gym, what should they expect of that game day experience?
Oh, well, first off, the moment you walk in, just the venue itself is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, Chris, when you walk in, your jaw is going to drop. Just the armory inside, it's spacious, it's massive ceilings, it's clear span, it's well lit. Like I said, it's hyped. It sounds like SPAC in there. We got the music pumping. We got party zones up top with standing rooms. We have the bar rails. We have the mascots. We have the game. We got, not only do we have Paulie Walnuts doing the hype, we also got Brian Radigan in the mix too, who does the Firewolves and the Firebirds. And on the mic is Mike Falvo. All right. So we got the best of the Albany crew. And we just bring it. And it's nonstop entertainment, and the team is a lot of fun to watch too. So, and it's a family friendly environment. A lot of kids show up. We have game day posters at the end of the game. There's the meet and greet. So it's just nonstop entertainment, and that's what we look at. We're entertainers, and not So Trev has the team. Trev has the product. On our side, it's an entertainment business. We put on a show.
Trev is only 29 years old.
Crazy.
Was there any convincing that had to be done to say, like, hey, man, we're taking the ball out of your hands. You can practice if you want, but now you can't play.
Yeah. He recognizes that this was a tremendous opportunity, because his career is coming down the hill. Is he done? No, he has a lot of fuel left in his tank. I can sit and watch him shoot at half court like they're foul shots. This guy is insane with his talent, and he has a lot left. But he hung it up because he thinks that this is a good career move, and this is the great springboard to do it. And so he's excited now. Will one day he don a Phoenix jersey and just get back? Who knows? But I'll tell you one thing, that kid can still play. That kid can still play.
Well, to your point of who you are, being analytical and strategic and all that, sounds like Trev has some of that in him too. He's seeing down the road here and what's to come, and how taking this job can set him up for that. nyphoenixbasketball.com is the best place to go. Check out the schedule. Get your season ticket, show up to the door.
Yeah, courtside too. That's the hottest ticket right there. Yeah.
Thursday, March 3rd against the Patroons. I don't need to try to sell that one. It speaks for itself. Sam, I'm glad we could catch up here, the three of us. And like I said,
Chris and I will do a date night to Schenectady.
100%. There are so many good restaurants in Schenectady. We love going to dinner in Schenectady. So many good places to go. And you tell me there's parking. This old man is sold. I'm in.
There's over 500 spots, and it's all lit.
See?
It's lit. It's safe, and it's So it is an absolute perfect place to come watch basketball.
I love it.
In an old historic armory.
Continued success with this team, man. Congratulations again. Thanks for giving us some time here on Onorato and Miller.
All right, guys.
That is Sam Clifford, the owner of the New York Phoenix, off to a nice start after back-to-back home games in that brand new venue. I'm looking forward to. I really am. I mean, the fact that they've used that building to transform it in so many different ways is really cool. Good on the city.
So I have yet to go to the new U Albany, which people say like your jaw will be on the floor.
Yeah.
I think the same thing will probably happen in the Schenectady Armory. You walk in and you're shocked at, I mean, even just from the pictures look incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, let's take another break here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, we'll get to what Shedeur Sanders' situation is following the combine that Sam's in. We got Sam here. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up there after our conversation with Sam Clifford. There's another injury that has hit the New York Yankees. How big of a deal is it? Are they deep enough to sustain what has come with Giancarlo Stanton and now one of their starting pitchers? Back on Onorato and Miller in 45.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on. For cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair, you can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable.
This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Alpenhaus, Performance Industrial, Novice, Bevs, and Marcella's with us each and every single week.
I have one thing. You threw up Sam's comment and never addressed it.
Oh, I thought I said... I think I said Sam's here. Oh, what's up with the Tuesday show this week? Sorry. Sam, we are doing the show early in the week, just scheduling conflicts. That's all. That's all. When our schedules individually or collectively throw us off, we want to make sure we do a show, and so we move it around a little bit. That's all, right?
Yeah. We're sorry.
Yeah, nothing special. But you can always find us on Saturdays and Sundays on TV.
Yeah, you can watch it back on YouTube, social media.
Yeah, but we like when Sam's with us live here.
Now we do.
So Josina Anderson, no, I'm sorry. I think it was just Diana Rossini who had the report that an anonymous quarterback coach of a team with a top 10 pick described Shedeur Sanders as brash and arrogant following a meeting at the NFL Combine. You're making a face like, so what? What?
Every interview that I've seen with that guy has not every, but like there were certainly interviews leading up to that seemed pretty like, oh, okay. Like, are you the son of Deion Sanders or are you the son of Deion Sanders? Very much. I don't know if I would say arrogant, but certainly did not lack for confidence. Okay. That does not surprise me in the least. I don't need a confidential anonymous source to tell me that.
Okay, but I don't think it's the fact that somebody's telling us that,
but that they're saying that he was that at a meeting.
Let me ask you two things here. First, you say you're not surprised. Okay. Does that characterization bother you when viewing a quarterback, a draft pick, an employee?
I mean, an employee, maybe a little bit. Confidence and arrogance are two different things. Arrogant, I don't love. Confidence, I do. But when it comes to pro football players and professional athletes, like, I don't know that they understand the line between confidence and arrogance.
Correct. Are you telling me Patrick Mahomes isn't arrogant? No. Are you telling me Tom Brady isn't arrogant? There's a different, I think, Ash, to your point, there's a different definition of arrogance when it comes to being a professional athlete, and especially a quarterback in the NFL. I want you to believe every time you look in the mirror and get into the huddle that you are the best player on the field going to make the play that needs to be made, period. And if we want to debate whether that's confidence or arrogance, fine. But this doesn't bother. This would not scare me away from Shedeur Sanders at all.
It wouldn't scare me away from him either. But you just use the names Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. That's an earned arrogance. There's a difference. You can't be arrogant when you haven't done anything. Like, Shedeur Sanders has done nothing to earn that arrogance. Nothing. He didn't win at Colorado. I mean, he won a little bit, but he didn't win at Colorado. Go win in the NFL and then go be arrogant.
Okay.
I think Mahomes has probably always been a little bit arrogant, and it's just probably the way that he's played. But
son of an athlete, and certainly not the caliber that Prime was.
No, not at all.
Pat Sr. Okay, my second question on this then is, does this feel like a scare tactic? Is there strategy in it to put this out there, hoping he might slide?
By this anonymous coach and the team?
Yeah, hoping he might slide. Let me put this out there, and maybe it scares some other coaches or teams off.
Yeah, maybe somebody was like, I got a top 10 pick, but it's 8. So let me see if I can get him to fall a little bit. Let me see if I can Will Levis this guy.
Yeah. Sam says he would never draft him. All hype, not good.
I don't know that I would never draft him, but I wouldn't draft him with a top 3 pick. But someone will, so.
Yeah, I don't know that someone will. I mean, again, there are mock drafts that have a wide range of where Sanders might go, and anywhere from 2 to Cleveland to 6 or 7, be it the Raiders or Jets, and all the way into the 20s. Pittsburgh at 21. I saw a mock draft that had him going 29th. There's no way that happens. But look, going into draft day, there's no way anybody thought Aaron Rodgers was going to go into the 20s.
Right.
Or that Brady Quinn would slip into the 20s. Mm-hmm. It happens. So stranger things have. I'm on the record as saying I like Shedeur Sanders. I think he's a really good quarterback prospect. I think if you surround him with the right people, he's incredibly accurate. We know he's tough. He got beat up like crazy behind those bad Colorado offensive lines. And yes, people will view his life as charmed. Because he's the son of Deion Sanders. But with that comes an incredible amount of pressure and attention that I think he has handled really, really well.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree.
I see, some pro material already kind of in, his attitude. Sam says Dan Marino was picked late in the first round. True. But Dan Marino is part of arguably the greatest quarterback class of all time. There aren't a lot of options in this one, right? After Cam Ward, it's, okay, are we taking Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart?
Right.
It's going to be Shedeur Sanders.
Also, Dan Marino, as arrogant as they came. Like, there's a certain amount of,
Yeah. Yeah. Luis Heel sidelined for at least, I'm going to say 6 weeks, but they're shutting him down for 6 weeks. Then he has to be reevaluated, and then he begins the throwing program, and the rehab starts. This is a 3-month injury here. Reigning AL Rookie of the Year, a rotation that has some depth to it, as we
found out,
talked about and learned.
That was classic.
How big of a deal here?
I think it's a really big deal. Here's the thing. Depth is great until you lose it before the season even starts. He was incredible last year. Anytime you can get a reigning Rookie of the Year, that to me is a guy that you want to be a part of your rotation going forward for the foreseeable future. To have success that early on in your career, you want that to now, keep trending upward. I'm concerned because depth is only depth, and when you have numbers of guys, it's power in numbers. That's what depth is. And so automatically you're out 6 weeks, which becomes, like you said, probably closer to 3 months. That happens to one more guy, and you're back to square one.
Obviously he will miss opening day. Giancarlo Stanton also in danger of missing opening day, and it's not doom and gloom here, right? You'd love to start the season at full strength and end the season at full strength. But if you only have the choice between the two of those, guess which one you're going to take, the end of the season. So you'll sacrifice late March baseball games, and I get it. Everyone counts the same. I'll sacrifice those games to be healthy in August and September if I can rig it that way. This concerns me because it's the pitching shoulder, and Clark Schmidt, I think, had the same injury last year or similar to it anyway, and I don't think he pitched until September. Now, the Yankees may have been a little more careful with him because of his prospect status. But, I mean, maybe we're talking post-All-Star break with Luis Heel. I guess we'll have to see how the injury goes and really how the Yankees season is going. How long can they sustain without somebody like him in the rotation? We'll get to the Kyrie Irving injury here as well, which is obviously a huge deal in the NBA. Ian Anderson, pitching well for the Braves in the spring. He is. And that fifth rotation spot was really his to lose, Sam, going into the spring. He was going to compete with guys like Grant Holmes and A.J. Smith-Shawver. That was his spot in the rotation to lose. And so I hope that opening day roster has him as somebody who's in the rotation.
Did you see Will Howard's pro day?
No, bad, huh?
Or combine? Will Howard's
combine. Yeah, no
bad.
good.
I mean, couldn't hit open guys.
He's not that quarterback. He's not that quarterback.
You have to be able to hit an open guy in a practice field where no one is.
I get it.
That's every quarterback. That's an 8-year-old quarterback can do that. That's the first thing you learn.
Jackson Dart looked really good. He'll be the third quarterback off the board for sure. McCord is probably the fourth guy off the board. Dylan Gabriel had a bad combine.
Bad. His was bad. Will Howard's was worse, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's pressure, maybe it's nerves. Like, listen, at the end of the day, you're looking at game film for those guys. Like, how do they play against other people?
And look, the game film told me that they're not NFL quarterbacks. They're really, really good college, and that's okay. Like, I don't even know that Riley Leonard's an NFL quarterback, and people really like him as a potential guy. But they're 3 in this draft to me, and that's why I find it so hard to believe that somebody like Shador could slide into the 20s. Teams are too desperate, just too desperate to try to get a quarterback. I just can't imagine it's going to happen that way.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
What a job by Bill Miller, Sean Wilcoxon, the Tinney's Tavern Performance Industrial crew, raising money for Folds of Honor New York and Expedition Yeti with bringing the Outhouse races back to Lake Desolation. Hadn't happened since before COVID, 2019. And had a really fun group out on the ice this past Saturday. And I know they'll do it again next year, although I did say to Bill, it was so cold and it was windy and it was snowing. And you know how much I enjoy that. I said to Bill, how about jet ski races? Why don't we do jet ski races on the lake? Summer? That would be a lot nicer, I think.
Yeah, like not like tag team, whatever you call them, but like relay. Like,
relay. There
you go. You jump, one jumps on, the other jumps off. Relay races.
It's a great idea. Relay races. Channel 13 had a team in the Outhouse races. Did not finish dead last.
Oh.
And if there were an award for best design, Channel 13 would have won.
Well, maybe we should. I mean, that's no consolation prize, but maybe we should make some categories next year for best design, best effort.
I'm with you. It's all a process.
You know what? I think they should make the teams dress up like together. There should be like themes.
No, I'm with you all the way.
Best effort. Like, you got each team.
Yep, I'm with you all the way. All right, here is our Dirty, Difficult, Done Performance Industrial of the week. Are we sure Duke freshman Cooper Flagg is one and done? Duke fans were chanting one more year in what we assume will be Flagg's last game at Cameron Indoor. But in the age of NIL, are we sure this is it for Cooper Flagg? Yes, he would be the number one pick if he leaves school, but he doesn't have to leave school in order to make money. And so if this team gets to the Final Four but doesn't win a title, does Flagg look at this and say, I didn't really accomplish all that I came to do? And I can make millions of dollars, New Balance and everybody else who's going to pay him. I want to come back. Give me put this into odds for me. 0 to 100. How done is Cooper Flagg at Duke?
He's done.
100%.
He's 100% done. You can chant all you want. You could not win a national championship. Your best shot is for them to not win a national championship.
Right.
Then maybe you've got like a sliver.
Yeah.
He's done. Because while you say, excuse me.
Yep.
While you say he can still make money, he doesn't need to go to the NBA to make money. He needs to go to the NBA to make guaranteed money over a period of 4 years, which is what he would get with a contract. You get to be the number 1 overall pick. You go somewhere. You're guaranteed money. And then you play well, and you're eligible for max deals or max extensions and things that you are not going to get that kind of money from, most likely, from other than Nike sponsors. He's done.
So he has an NIL deal now that pays him about $5 million.
Okay. I mean,
a rookie contract for the number 1 pick would be 4 years and a little more than $14 million. So he is being paid better now annually than he would be as an NBA rookie. Now, there are limitless endorsement opportunities as a number 1 pick, an NBA player, and all of that. So the money is not quite exactly equal here. But NIL has changed the conversation. I'm with you. I think he's 100% done.
I'm a little bit surprised that a rookie contract is that low.
Yeah.
For a number 1 overall pick?
I'm reading the Sporting News has this here. A rookie contract, 4 years. Oh, I'm sorry. $14 million per year.
That's much better.
Okay.
So now you leave.
Yeah. And he was leaving anyway, as we've established, but you're right. $14 million
that makes much more sense.
Yes. Yeah.
$14 million a year. Then by the time you get to that second contract, now you're talking about 130, 150, 200 million a year, whatever the maximum is that they could pay you on a second contract. If there is a maximum, he'll probably get it.
Yeah.
But also you don't run the risk of getting hurt in college. You do your year, you go to the NBA. Now you've got 1 more year as a young NBA star. Like, you will be more athletic than everyone else. Not everyone is LeBron James and will play until they're 42.
He is so much fun to watch. And it leads me to this. How in the tank can and should the Mavericks go? Kyrie Irving. Look, I'm not the biggest Kyrie Irving fan, but he is so talented that I hate when these types of players, suffer these types of injuries, especially at his age, right?
Yeah.
Early mid-30s, ACL. What's the bounce back time? Anyway, it's a torn ACL. Irving's done for the year. A Mavericks team that needed him to even try to get into the play-in. They're the 10 seed currently in the West. Dallas go full tank mode here? Try to disguise it a little bit, because the league wouldn't love that, but they're 32-30 as we do the show live on a Tuesday. If you were to go, so that's 20 more games to play. If you were to go to 5-15, you could really guarantee yourself a nice lottery pick.
I don't think it'll be that hard. Without him, I don't think it'll be that hard.
You don't rush Davis back at all this season. I wouldn't bring him back at all.
Right.
PJ Washington's hurt, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. I wouldn't rush any of these guys back.
Shouldn't be that hard. So, yeah, full tank without full tank in it. Just throw out your B team and you'll be all right.
Yeah, they can't get all the way to number 1 to try to get a guy like Cooper Flagg, but yeah.
Who's going to get Cooper Flagg?
Well, there are so many bad teams out there. You know how it works with the lottery. There's no guarantee that if you have the worst record, you're going to get.
But I like it. I like it that way.
The number 1 pick. I mean, Washington is terrible.
Yep.
That is. We have 4 minutes left. You know not to send me down this road of how to fix the NBA draft lottery, and I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to say that is the shame of the NBA in particular. The NFL, you can get an injury to a quarterback and, you lose 13, 14 games, but you're really not that bad of a put together franchise. And all of a sudden you get the number 1 pick. Okay, we're in business here. But in the NBA,
Yeah,
it's rare that one injury derails your season. The teams that pick in the top 3 and top 5, these are historically and traditionally poorly run franchise. And that's the shame of it, is that guys like Cooper Flagg generally end up in places like Washington.
Right. Wemby got
Charlotte.
lucky. Wemby got lucky because he went to a Spurs team that had struggled for, the better part of a decade, to be very clear.
Yeah.
But playing for a Hall of Fame coach in a city that loves basketball, you are not getting relegated to the G League with the Spurs.
Yep.
These days you go to Washington, Portland, not even so much we are Detroit. You look at Detroit, they've kind of figured it out.
Big
Charlotte
time.
has not been good in a while. So there
New
are plenty
Orleans
of teams.
is brutal.
Yeah.
Some nice American cities, Charlotte, New Orleans, DC, places that, a young person making a lot of money would enjoy, but the basketball stinks.
Yeah. But does a guy like him change that?
Maybe people want to go play with him. People know that they can win. I think that's where it starts to change. Nobody wanted to play in OKC for a while after Durant left either. Nobody wanted to play in San Antonio till Wemby got there. Now De'Aaron Fox all of a sudden wants to go there. So you're saying Cooper could be a culture changer. Yeah, okay.
Culture changer, not necessarily a culture changer of the franchise, but could interest other people in coming to that franchise. I think that's possible. And I think that happens now more in the NBA than maybe any other sport.
Okay. Which of these 250-win teams would you put your money on to win the title? Cavs or Thunder?
I mean, I'm going to go Thunder. I like both of them a lot. We've talked about how well the Cavs have done this for a very long time. They've drafted. I think they've done it from a harder position, than the Thunder. The Thunder loaded up so many first-round picks for all of eternity. They had 20 first-round picks over 10 years or something crazy.
Well, they still have most of them, yeah.
But that's what I mean. So they're just going to continue to get better.
I see.
The Cavs have done it in a harder, a more difficult way. They've had to be more strategic about it. The Thunder are just picking number one, and they could trade some, and they've chosen to draft more. But I think the Thunder have had an easier time doing it. Granted, they've set themselves up that way. The Cavs have done it, I think, a little more strategically, and have done it with a little more dark horse guys, drafted people that I don't know that everyone else believed in, and they've put them all together, thrown Donovan Mitchell in the middle, and it's turned into this beautiful thing.
Yeah, they made smart trades too, right? They got Jared Allen from the Nets. They moved off a guy like Karis LeVert to add a guy like DeAndre Hunter. I mean, they've made some smart moves. To your point. All right, we've got 15 seconds left here. I just want to recognize this. Jimmy Johnson retiring from Fox Sports, 25 years.
Crazy.
With that broadcast team. And he was part of the fun of it with Howie and Terry, and now Strahan is involved. What a run. He's 81 years old.
He looks so good.
Incredible. It's the hair.
Yeah, he looks so good.
He does.
But he looks good even with, I'm not saying he look good without hair, but he's just generally good looking.
Yeah, well, he lives in that Florida sun, so it's doing him well. Thanks for watching Onorato and Miller this week. Everybody have a great weekend.